tough tomorrow night, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all tough.
Aston Villa.
They're all tough when you've got inferior players. They're all tough.
At least they haven't got that troublemaker playing.
Is he not playing? Is he not playing?
No,
Injured.
he's injured.
What? He fell off the physio's table.
Yeah. It'll halve the foul count anyway. Might be a bit more football.
In the stats, he's got more fouls against him than any other player by a country mile.
Yeah.
100, I think, in tip.
That's right.
Really? Wow.
He's been dropped from the fantasy league team of a lot of the Aston Villa players, apparently. Did you hear about that?
No.
Right. Aston Villa have a lot of players who play fantasy league, and they knew that he wasn't going to be playing. And so they all transferred him out of their team for the weekend game, which led to all the other teams knowing that Grealish wasn't going to be playing. And there was Aston Villa staff have gone absolutely berserk about it, apparently, and they've banned all their players from playing fantasy league football.
Nice cake, John.
Thank you. We've only got another 11 pieces to cope with. I can do it.
Rise to the challenge.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, John.
Brilliant.
John, do you want to hold the card up that everybody sent you?
He's eating it.
He's had enough. He's off.
He's eating it. Oh dear.
You can hear Jenny baking the next cake.
Is that Colin or his younger brother?
Younger brother.
Colin, you're looking remarkably well, mate. You look good. You're looking very good.
Yeah, I got down to my lowest weight. Was it?
I can see that.
Yeah,
you look well.
Well, for a long while anyway.
Yeah.
But,
Can you
got that effect on you, Colin?
sorry,
Have United got that effect on you?
I don't know. My new shirt turned up yesterday as well. I've tried it on, but
Hang on. Did you all see that?
No.
What is it?
What's it say?
Say
A bit higher.
something, John.
You may have.
It says you may have had your vaccine, but you're still too close for comfort. Sorry, but I'll.
Right.
Don't tell him anybody, but when they did all that, Prince of Wales said, "Did we get the right chip? I thought it was the other Longstaff."
Happy sodding birthday, irritable owl syndrome.
I bet you were up all night doing that one.
Definitely.
Right. So, have we got any more comments about Darren Moore taking over at
No.
Hillsborough?
No.
It must be
Came out
mad.
of the blue. Did anybody know about that before yesterday?
Say again, Lol.
Have there been any rumours about that? I never heard about that till it was announced.
No.
2 or 3 weeks ago, he was linked,
I
but I
suspect.
thought it got more tense.
Yeah. I
It's as the
suspect that-
price.
Go on.
As the price, isn't it?
I suspect that the Doncaster players knew because their forms dropped off in the last 4 matches drastically. So that's
It's uninspiring, but what can you expect?
He brought all his coaching staff with him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the problem is Chansiri couldn't get anybody at it. They wouldn't work with him.
He must be a hard man to work with, Chansiri.
two
You've
seconds.
got to be a yes man, I think.
Could be a quiz question, couldn't it? So
Yeah.
name all the Wednesday managers from this season.
Yeah.
is,
Get to be as bad as Watford.
it is sad though when an owner can't take a back seat and let the professionals get on with it.
Well, there's an interesting stat came out at the weekend that West Brom, the last 5 home wins they've had a new different manager for every home win they've had in the Premier League for the last 5.
Okay. My dear, they were a bit fortunate, weren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very. And that's the first time that 2 penalties have been missed by hitting the woodwork in a Premier League game.
Wow. You're full of
Good result for United.
something beginning with S, aren't you?
Yeah.
Stats.
The same referee, Lee Mason, who booked our player for not kicking somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
Didn't
top
actually
man.
touch him, but got booked.
By the way, he was injured on the last of the game at Bramley. He was injured and stood down. Injured and stood down. Lee Mason. My
After
goodness me.
they'll keep him out of the game a bit, I think, for retraining.
Wow. Be honest, guys. Just be honest and say we're giving him a bit of a respite. And, you know, just don't tell lies. It's awful, that is. It's insulting.
Yeah.
It is insulting. Yeah.
BBC are just doing a eulogy on Ian St. John while you've been
Right.
talking, guys.
Right.
Guess, of all the people they would invite, who do you think they've invited to do the eulogy?
Lineker.
No, but you're not
Jamie-
far off.
Jamie Carragher.
Dan Walker.
No,
Jermaine
Shearer.
Jonas,
a footballer,
current footballer.
Pat
Not
Nevin.
Kenny-
What?
Pat
Who?
Nevin.
Who?
Everton
I'm
player,
telling you.
but at least he's got a brain.
Yeah.
At least he's
Yeah.
probably not-
Yeah, he never headed the ball.
Yeah, as I've met Pat Nevin, he has got a brain.
Yeah.
They could
Yeah,
have had
both.
Kenny Dalglish.
Well-
They'd have needed subtitles.
Absolutely.
Both Chris and myself have met Pat Nevin.
Have you?
Yeah, he's a really nice bloke. Really, really nice man.
Yeah.
Doesn't need a
No.
script like the others. The others
No.
can only speak on script.
Yeah.
Whereas he has got a brain, he can speak, he can ad lib,
Yeah.
and he speak from the heart, you know. So yeah.
At the end of the day, there are no cliches, you know.
No. As they say.
He must have played with St. John for Scotland, Pat Nevin.
Yeah.
Possible.
No,
I would have thought Pat Nevin's after Ian St.
Different
John.
era.
A bit younger.
Yeah, he's younger. Yeah.
Possibly.
He would know.
Well, Bob Latchford era, wasn't he?
Bob Latchford.
the first time I went to Anfield, unfortunately, he scored the winning goal against United. We lost 1-0.
Again.
And me and my mate, we went, it's when you could just buy a ticket to get in the ground. So we went, we bought a ticket for the Cup, just to see what it were all about. We spent about 3 minutes there before walking down to the front and saying, policeman, can we move to another part of the ground, please? Because we scared.
Well, you know when we went to
Keith, that's where we first met, but you don't realise it. I was the little boy who ran up to you and said, "Look after your car, mister."
Somebody did actually do that. Somebody actually did that. But the policeman was very nice, and he just moved us to the part of the ground where there were some United fans. But it was scary on that Cop. The amount of movement of people was unbelievable.
Your safest place would have been the Liverpool goalmouth, to be honest.
Keith, I was on that Cup when we won 2-1 that Good Friday.
Oh yeah.
I was on the Cup. On the Cup, yeah.
I was in the ground.
Right. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
You didn't feel scared at all. You just accepted it, being jostled about.
Was it Curry and Reese, lol?
That's right.
Not Cuddy and Rice.
Did I ever tell you the story?
I've just checked up on Pat Nevin.
Yeah.
He was a long time after St. John. He was 86 when he got his first international cap. So a long
That's a
time
bit
after
old.
St. John.
It's a bit old, isn't it?
86.
Did I tell you
Well,
the
it's
story
got-
about my little sister going to Anfield for the first time? Say yes if I did.
No.
All right.
No,
Well, she had a red puffer jacket. In those days, puffer jackets were very popular. And a mate, Valerie, had a yellow one. And Dad got in for some reason, got into the director's box. So I was able to go in on his season ticket. So we parked the car at Stanley Park. And he said, right, there you are, Sal, to my little sister. There's the money to get in over at the Kemlyn roadside. You'll be safe there. And what have you. Okay. Anyway, we go up to the ground and there's all these TV cables and all the rest of it. You find your way and what have you, watch the match. And those TV cables were there every week because Match of the Day seemed to come from Anfield in those days, or every other week. But when we were sort of sitting down in the lounge, my dad and I, to watch Match of the Day, as they do, they pan onto the Kop at the beginning. And we saw these two people, one in a red jacket, one in a yellow jacket, being passed down the Kop. And my dad says, "Is that Sally?" I said, "I think it is, Dad." So he bellows because she's upstairs. "Sally!" She comes down and she knew she was in trouble. Instead of saying, "What were you doing?" and Cop said, "Where's my money?"
right. Let's move on to something else. Where's the strangest or most unusual place that you've seen a sporting event? And I'm going to go to Colin first. Have you got any
Sorry, I didn't
stories?
hear I'm having a problem with the internet. I didn't hear the question, Keith.
The question was, have you been to an unusual place or under unusual circumstances to see a sporting event?
One thing that I didn't see a lot of sport, but I did go to an event. It was the Trent Bridge. Australians were playing Nottinghamshire in, was it 1953? My granddad took me. Brilliant day. 2-hour bus journey to Nottingham to start with. On the way it starts raining. Since there, well, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, by its fine up and sunshine, Reg Simpson and Lindsay Hassett come out at about 4:30. Crowd booing what was still there and what have you, why aren't they get on and playing? And Lindsay Hassett bends down and puts his hand on the wicket and scoops up what was, and throws up in the air a load of water, and everybody accepted that, left the ground. Obviously didn't see any cricket, and another 2-hour bus journey back home. So, brilliant day.
Right. What about...
That happens to me every fortnight, 2-hour bus journey to Hillsborough, don't see any football, and a 2-hour journey back home.
What about Mike? Have you got any anything that you can add?
No, not really, thanks. I'll have to pass on that one. Thanks.
Has anybody got an unusual first or on then, Paul?
Well, I once went to the European Super Cup final and got into the ground. Peter was talking about this last week where he went to Lord's without a ticket. Well, I went to the Super Cup final without a ticket. In fact, on the morning of the game, I didn't even know it was taking place. It was 2012. Chelsea were playing Atletico Madrid in Monaco. 2012, we'd been to the Olympics. All our family had been to the Olympics for the best part of a fortnight. But we hadn't had a holiday sort of thing. So we decided, my wife and myself and Ryan and his wife, some of you know Ryan, he was the one who carried the Olympic torch. We decided we'd go to the south of France for about 4 or 5 days. We know a little place between Nice and Monaco. It's only 2-hour flight to Nice. It's fine, and it's not that expensive where we stay. But in our hotel, Ryan spotted some guys, and he said, "I know him," and he was one of the presenters for Sky Sports. So Ryan, being Ryan, he went up and started talking to him. And after a while, the guy said to him, "Well, if you're interested, we've got a spare ticket. Do you want to come?" So Ryan said, "Yeah." Unfortunately, they'd only got one ticket. Ryan had never been to Monaco, so he didn't know where it was or anything. So all the 4 of us took him in. We went into Monaco with him. We walked as far as we were allowed to the ground because police stopped you getting anywhere near. And he went on to the match. And I said, "I'll see you somewhere after the game." My wife and his wife went back to our hotel, but I stayed in the middle of Monaco. So I decided I'd watch the game from in a bar next to the harbour, and some of the Chelsea fans who had got tickets were with me in the bar. Now, I couldn't understand that. They'd come all the way from London to watch their team. They got tickets for the game and decided not to go. Anyway, Chelsea were 3-0 down after 15 minutes. And the Chelsea fans started fighting amongst themselves. One bloke nutted his mate. So I thought, I'll get out of the way of this. But I thought, what's the chances of getting in? No ticket, I thought, fair, must be a chance. So anyway, I wandered off to the ground and I walked around the ground a few times, and there was no way you were going to get in because security was very tight. I walked up to the main doors, and before I'd got within sort of 20 yards, people were coming towards me saying, "Good evening, sir," and all that sort of stuff. You weren't going to get in. So I was having a bit of a wander, and I just thought, there must be a chance. Anyway, Atletico scored their 4th goal. And as the 4th goal went in, the gates opened and Chelsea fans started pouring out. So while they were pouring out, I went straight in and sat down and watched most of the second half. So one of the strange things was that Gary Cahill was playing for Chelsea. Now, Gary Cahill went to school with Ryan. Ryan says, "I couldn't believe I was watching a game of that magnitude and a mate of mine from school's playing." And Gary Cahill scored. Chelsea lost 4-1. Falcao scored a hat-trick for Atletico, but Gary Cahill scored a goal. He says, "I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. My schoolmate just scored in the European Cup final." Anyway, I have a picture. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's before the game. That's Ryan with the that's with the European Cup, and that is the trophy for the Super Cup that they were playing for. So that was a fairly unusual day. Never on the morning of the game, as I say, didn't even know it was taking place. But they used to play it in Monaco every year. That was the last year.
Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah. So that was quite an interesting experience.
Brilliant story.
It was funny watching the Chelsea fans fight amongst themselves.
What about that cricket match we went to, Paul? When we went to that Sporting Memories meeting at Headingley.
Headingley.
And it finished early, And we just wandered through the back of a stand, didn't we? And finished up. Yeah. What were Yorkshire playing then? They were doing very well, weren't they?
They lost 4 wickets in the 20 minutes that we were there.
Exactly, yeah.
Paul, why were you there in the first place? Was it another honeymoon or something?
Could have been.
Yeah, you can't
remember. It was an Olympic year, Ian, so it probably was.
Yes, it was Olympic. Yeah, we decided we'd not had any sun because we'd been to the London Olympics for a fortnight. So
I I once went to Partick Thistle because we couldn't get in at Rangers and Celtic, and I was courting this Glaswegian lass. She's nice, and I rang up and said, "What time's kickoff?" He said, "Well, how soon can you get here?"
The old ones are the best.
We'll send
Going
it.
back,
We'll
to
send
the
the count.
Olympics, got into centre court at Wimbledon without a ticket as well.
Go on then. How'd you
During the
manage that?
Olympics. Yeah. Well, we had got tickets for the for the number 1 court. And we watched Djokovic play, and then it started lashing it down with rain. It rained for about 3 or 4 hours, but the centre court had a roof on it, and so the play continued. And so I, after a little while, getting fed up of watching the rain, I said, "Well, I wonder what's the chances of getting to centre court." So I walked down. It was, you know, in the mid-evening sort of thing, and I started asking people who were coming out, "Are you going back in or are you going home?" And so one or two, actually, I asked one lady, I said to her, "Are you going home?" She said, "I beg your pardon." Anyway, I kept asking people if they could have their tickets to get in. Now, most people wanted to keep their tickets as a souvenir. But I did manage to get a 3 and a 2 together. And so I went back into number 1 court, said, "I've got 5 tickets for centre court." They said, "Get off, don't be stupid." I said, "Honestly, I've got 5 tickets for centre court. Do you want to come?" And 2 of our group wouldn't go because they didn't think it were right. But anyway, we went in and we watched Joe Wilfred Songa play some Italian guy whose name I've forgotten. But that was good. And we were right behind the TV cameras, opposite the Royal Box, but right behind the absolutely brilliant seats. Good day.
Right.
You're on a flagger, aren't you?
Yeah.
What, Chris? I'll come back to you in a minute. Ron had his hand up earlier on.
Yeah, I was walking along the front in La Lavandou in south of France, and I noticed a large number of rather scantily dressed ladies. Don't know what's happening here. Went to have a look, and it was beach volleyball, which I was thoroughly enjoying until my wife gave me a clip round the ear and said, "Come on, you're not watching this."
My favourite sport.
Yeah.
What, a women's sport, Chris?
Yeah, I love women's volleyball, beach volleyball. It's brilliant.
I thought you might.
Yeah, it's great. Absolutely fantastic.
Element?
Yeah.
They were quite athletic.
I have no
say
idea.
that.
What are the rules?
No idea.
I'm on a Zoom meeting.
My son blagged his way into the Grand National one day. The simple expediency of a mobile phone.
All right.
Got a ticket for the outer area. You know, you can go and stand at Valentine's Brook or wherever. So they're cheaper tickets. But he and his mate and a couple of others, they just sort of strung out, waited for a large queue, got into it and just started talking on the phone and came in, got into the stands. Good Scouse tradition, that.
Cheek.
I also once got in to see Harlequins play rugby without a ticket as well. At Rotherham, Clifton Road, is it? Clifton Lane?
Yeah.
They got drawn against Harlequins in the sort of national knockout cup, as it was in there. It was when Will Carling was playing for Harlequins.
Yeah.
They were the biggest team in England, sort of thing. Tickets had been sold out for quite a while. And I said to my 2 sons, "Shall we go and see if we can get in? Because it's not a very big ground." And anyway, so what I did was we parked the car not too far away. I put on my best coat and a shirt and tie. And I said to my 2 lads, I held them in the by hand, you know, they're only 8 and 10 or something like that. And I walked straight, I said, "Don't look anywhere. Don't, talk to anybody. Just keep walking." And so I took one in hand, either side, and we walked straight up to the main entrance and walked straight in. Nobody even batted an eyelid.
And they threw you a jersey and you were on Sandhoff half. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a member of the undercover branch of the Salvation Army?
I do have my doubts about the Salvation Army with characters like him around, you know.
Yeah.
God moves in mysterious ways.
Have we got any other stories to tell?
I've only got a Wimbledon one to bolt on to Paul, but let everyone go, you know, let everyone else.
So, go on, Chris.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's only 2 years ago, but I've never been to Wimbledon, and I've always wanted to go, but cricket got in the way, or work, and eventually ended up going 2 years ago. And we picked a day, we got some tickets for number 1 court, had a fantastic day. When we got there, this chap was practicing. That's how near we were. That's Anderson, Kevin Anderson. He just 2 days earlier, he'd beaten Federer. He was 2 sets down, 1-3-2, shock of the tournament. So we were fascinated to see him practicing. And then we went off to our tickets. We had a wonderful day. Even if you're not interested in tennis, it's a magnificent thing to go to. And on the side of the court, you can see that the men's semi-final, Anderson versus Isner, is at 2 sets all, and they can't finish. They just keep going. It's 18-18, it's 20-20, just keeps going. Anyway, all our games finish, and I said to my partner Christine, I said, like Paul, there'll be some returns. People have to get home, they have to leave, they can't stay. So I went to this little ticket office, small queue, and they decided they would start the second men's semi-final, which was Djokovic versus Nadal, under lights, under cover, from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And the tickets, and I am a person who keeps my ticket, Paul, centre court ticket, 15 quid.
Wow.
And the strict rule was, Mr. Hall, you do realise you will only see 3 hours play. Yeah, fine, terrific. Give me a ticket. We went in and we saw 3 sets, finished at 11, about 10 past 11. 2 sets to Nadal, 2 sets to 1 Djokovic. Staggering standard of tennis, and it cost us 15 quid each. And that was my first ever day spent at Wimbledon. Came home and got to the hotel about 1 o'clock in the morning. Remarkable day that, like Paul said, you couldn't plan that. You couldn't plan all that. And it was only because the other semi-final went to 24-26 and ended at 7:30 at night. So things were really in my favour that day. It was an amazing day.
Chris, as a sequel to that, in the 60s, early 70s, after Wimbledon, a lot of the international players used to go to other courts, and there was a tournament at Hoylake on the Wirral, and we were, and you get in for an out. And amazing. We saw, well, my best mate at school was a junior amateur champion, and he played with his sister against John Newcombe, and I think it's Angelique Newcombe, and there was Judy Tegart, Yvonne Goolagong, as if she was then, so that dates it.
Yeah,
you'd rub shoulders with a lot of the celebs.
Amazing.
For next
Absolutely amazing. Well, you know, absolutely amazing.
Didn't they used to come to Bramall Lane?
Bramall Lane?
They used to have a tournament at Bramall Lane.
Yes, they did.
After Wimbledon.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
What sort of tournament?
A tennis tournament.
Tennis tournament at Bramall Lane?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen Rod Laver or somebody like that there.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Arnold Laver.
There used to be tennis courts at the back of the Cop.
Yeah. They did.
Yeah. Ron, those were the days when the tennis racket to have was a Dunlop Max Fly 4.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
God, they were
I
heavy.
still got mine.
Standards.
Yeah, I still play with mine.
Yeah, mine's in loft.
You must play with yours. You must play with yours, but you should stop it now.
What about Philip? Have you got any strange firsts other than girlfriends?
That's a leading question, isn't it?
The earliest football match I can remember is when I was with my granddad, bringing things down to earth a little bit. It's no way exotic. It was Paul Brookman as welfare, And
That's more like it. Proper football, that. Not
Yeah.
the blooming south of France.
He took us to a football game. There was a lot of ladies playing. There were no nets up, and he got to near the end of the match. The ball come across, and I put my foot on it on the line, and I had about 10 women chasing me down the field.
That's the way to get them, Philip.
I've never had 10 women chasing me.
Were they scantily clad?
He's back to his volleyball again, isn't he?
Calm
Bit of
down.
sand and a net. You know, you're anybody's.
Is there a net? Oh, there's a net, is there?
And right, move on. Dave the fish. Have you been fishing anywhere unusual?
No, not really.
All right. Okay.
Waterlogged pitch. Dave Redfern, in your football career, what's the best ground you played on?
I would say Leeds United, dirty Leeds.
Moving on, moving swiftly on.
What about big Paul ODI? What have you got? Sporting events?
Jaw jumping.
No, nothing really. Nothing of note, to be honest. I can just remember once one of my uncles, who were a big cricketer, when I were a right small lad, also a motorbike enthusiast, and he decided that we'd go to Old Trafford to see a test match. And we'll go up motorbike, he says, but my mother poo-pooed that. She weren't having that. And we went up train to Manchester, and you know, I was only very, very small. So Freddie Truman and Statham, and against Australia, they played matching Richie Beno.
Wow.
So at least I've seen one top flight match in my life.
Yeah, sounds good.
Wasn't an ODI either.
Somebody shouted out show jumping. In addition to the one I used to watch at Wavertree Playground in Liverpool, wasn't there a big competition, perhaps Harrogate or somewhere? Yorkshire had a really big 3-day competition.
At the Great Yorkshire Show.
The Great Yorkshire Show.
Yeah, I think it was part of the Great Yorkshire Show.
You get your David Brooms, your Pat Smythes, and your you know, Two Fingers. What's his name?
Oh yeah.
Harvey.
That's where I met Harvey Smith at Great Yorkshire
Is
Show.
that what he said? Hello, Paul.
I used to show goats there at Great Yorkshire Show.
You used to show them what?
Show goats. In the goat pen.
What did you show him?
Well, that's private, isn't it? That's private.
Made a lot of cheese that
Follow
way.
that. Follow
And
that.
he was exercising harvester at the back of the goat tent.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
That's a euphemism if ever I heard one. Yeah.
How the other half live.
What about Brian the Whistle? Brian, you must have got.
I can tell you that one of the worst experiences I've had, which was actually my first ever visit to Wembley, but it wasn't for football. It was when I followed Speedway, and I went. It'd be sort of mid to late 70s. They had the World Championship final at Wembley.
Yeah.
First ever trip to Wembley. Still, when you paid for a seat, but actually you sat on something that wasn't quite up to the standard of a park bench. It was that era, and went with a few mates, and we got a fantastic view on the third bend, because Speedway, you don't want to be on the straights. You don't see a fantastic view on the third bend, but the track was so dry. It was unbelievable. Every time they went round the bend, the only thing that happened was we got absolutely showered in dust and shale, and it was shocking. It was terrible, and everybody was complaining. And eventually there was an announcement from over the tannoy from the judges that yeah, they will water the track, but they won't water it until every rider's had one race on the same track conditions. So we had 8 heats of this unbelievable dust, and I've never been in a desert dust storm, but I can imagine what one was like because we experienced it that night, and we were absolutely brown, dust in his hair, shingle in his hair, clothes a complete and utter mess, and that's essentially all I remember. I can't even tell you who won. I just remember having to endure 8 heats of absolute purgatory on what should have been a really special occasion. So that was my first experience of Wembley far before I did anything there with football.
I was going to ask if you saw Ivan Major, but you wouldn't have seen anything.
Yeah, he was there. He was of my era. Yeah.
Was Archie Moore there?
No.
Right, we are approaching 1 minute, so we've got less than a minute, lads. So thank you for today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Happy birthday to John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, John.
Thank
Don't
you.
eat all the cake all at once.
Have some cake, John.
And
You've no chance.
Virtually.
we'll see you all next week.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
And,
Cheers.
Thanks,
see you
Keith.
later.
Bye bye.
All the best. Bye, Keith. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.